Peter Woolley was no longer willing to die. Closing his eyes against thorns and stinging sweat, he stumbled through forest understory so dense that running was impossible. He had slipped out of the village undetected, but he'd have little chance of losing the tribe's best hunters once they discovered his absence. If he could make it to the river and then cross without drowning, perhaps they would give up and let him go. And if he could somehow trek 60 miles to the coast without survival gear, he might then formulate a plan to prepare the world for what he had seen. Ironically, he now had a reason, but almost no chance, to survive. Peter stumbled and fell. He rolled onto his back, sucking in the viscous air hanging over the forest floor. Sunlight pierced the canopy here and there, but otherwise he stared at a solid ceiling of vegetation that was unrelenting, stretching for miles in every direction and broken only by the occasional river. His breathing gradually slowed. The constant trilling of insects soothed him and pulled his thoughts from despair to hope. Perhaps he might live to see his dear Rose. He had something to offer her now, a gift like no other. For years he had given his wife little more than heartache and concern over his disregard for his own life. She deserved more. Peter was a reckless wanderer with a habit of planning ever more perilous ventures before even completing the previous one. As Rose would say, he was willing to die for the sake of a thrill. And this time, he had gone too far. A solo walkabout into the remotest forest, itself potentially fatal, but then derailed by an astonishing encounter. He detected movement far above. A cat-sized creature launched itself from one tree to another, its long tail held rigid as ballast. It was a tree kangaroo, common in the forests of Irian Jaya, but Peter was sure this variety was unknown to science. The creature's presence above him indicated the local villagers were likely in pursuit. Peter struggled to his feet. He had to keep moving. He plunged headlong into a dense patch of plum pines, the trees tearing his skin and clothing. Something tugged at his throat, and the cord around his neck snapped. He turned in time to see a figurine slide from the ensnared cord and fall to the ground. It was a stone carving of a tree kangaroo, the same creature he had just seen in the flesh. For a moment he considered going back for the figurine. Then he looked to the trees above and spotted the real tree kangaroo. It stared down at him briefly, then headed back the way it had come, leaping agilely between tree limbs. Peter cursed. The creature would lead the tribesmen straight to him. Leaving the figurine, he emerged from the plum pines and broke into a run, only to be forced to skirt around another dense patch.
Peter!
Peter stopped cold. Samuel stood before him, wearing his skin shorts and oddly gleaming vest. Peter felt a flame of hope. After all, Samuel had been the one who convinced the villagers to spare Peter's life in the first place.
Samuel, I had to leave. I wanted to say goodbye, but I couldn't risk it. The others, do they know I've left?
Samuel stepped closer, his expression grim. They are aware. You must know you cannot leave this place. You cannot bring others here. It is not yet time. Peter scanned the forest but saw no sign of the tribe's hunters.
They'll kill me, won't they?
You can stop them. Please, Samuel. I can't stay here. The man shook his head. If I am to endeavor to save your life, you must agree to remain. Stay here with me, Peter. There is much for us to do. Peter considered the offer. No doubt there was much work to do. In fact, this was an absurd understatement. The substance the villagers possessed and protected was beyond Peter's comprehension. He was no more equipped to make progress with it than Samuel was, or the tribesmen, for that matter. No, it was too big. They needed help. He had to get back to civilization. He backed away from Samuel. All I ask is that you give me a chance. Try to hold them off. Samuel's face showed genuine alarm. Do not, Peter. I beg you.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.